the electric auto industry is going to be a growth industry, the likes of which we have not seen since the Model T. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
What's up, YouTube? I just wanted to express my feelings around the price of Tesla right now. A lot of people think that because the price has gone up so much in the last year that Tesla stock is overvalued. But I think that currently it's at least adequately valued, if not still undervalued. And this is why. And this is why I'm not selling any of my Tesla stock. If there does happen to be a healthy correction in the market, I plan to buy more Tesla stock. And I think, I recorded a really long video and I realized it was just me ranting about Tesla for like 35 minutes. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more concise because I don't want to rant forever and ever. But I mean, there's 3 extremely large growth opportunities that Tesla is very well positioned to take advantage of. One of them is the electric vehicle market. It's currently only 2% of cars out on the roads right now, and it's growing exponentially. Meanwhile, internal combustion engine vehicles are declining. So to me, this just shows that, electric vehicles are going to take over the auto industry. How fast is it going to happen? I think maybe in the next 10 years. Time will tell, but it's happening exponentially. So another factor, so that's EV market. And one big driving force in this is the decreasing costs of batteries. And, Tesla announced on their Battery Day event a few months ago, I can't remember when it was, but that basically they're going to be able to decrease the cost of their batteries by about 50%, which is huge. So this is, they're going to be able to sell vehicles with longer ranges for cheaper. This is going to put internal combustion engine vehicles out of business pretty quickly. I think Tesla is leading the EV market, and I think it's without a doubt that they're going to at least maintain their market share there, and this market's going to grow exponentially. So that's one big portion of market cap that they're going to create, one justification for their value. I think that's actually relatively small compared to what people haven't been talking about, which is, people are talking about it, but basically Elon has talked about autonomous vehicles and a robotaxi fleet. So this is such a big opportunity. Kathy Wood with ARK Invest talks about this being a $7 trillion opportunity.
We think the autonomous taxi opportunity is going to be even bigger. So if we knew today who was going to win in the autonomous taxi network market, given the cash flow models we've done out to 2030, these are software as a service or transportation as a service models, very high margin models, we would be willing to pay $2 trillion today for those companies. Many people think ride-hailing companies are going to be the autonomous taxi network providers. They are not. They haven't been collecting data. They haven't outfitted the cars with sensors to collect the data to train autonomous vehicles. Tesla has. That's our number 1 pick. It is our highest conviction stock. It is the largest position in our portfolios. It is a $40 billion company. And we think it's going for that $7 trillion opportunity in 2028. That $7 trillion opportunity is bigger than the entire energy sector globally today.
$7 trillion market cap creation of this, industry that's going to come out of nowhere. It's a huge opportunity, and I think Tesla is the most well-positioned to take advantage of this. The reason being is they have the most, basically Tesla's autopilot system is collecting data essentially the car is driving itself when it's on autopilot, but there are all these scenarios where, you need to take control because the computer is still learning. So every time you take it out of autopilot to steer clear of a person or make a turn onto it at a four-way stop or whatever, every time you take it out of autopilot, actually, it's called an intervention. You're intervening in the autonomous driving of the vehicle. And every time that happens, Tesla is recording the data of how you're basically helping train the vehicles. So he has collected at least 99% of all the data out there on real world autonomous driving data, So I think it goes without question that he's leading the way. There's a few others. I'm going to cut to Elon because he explains it really well.
The advantage that we have that I think is very difficult to overcome is that we have just a vast amount of data on interventions. So effectively, the customers are training the system on how to drive. And there are millions of corner cases. They're so obscure and weird, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, there's different road markings, different rules in different countries, different expectations. You've got rain, snow, sleet, hail, hurricanes, floods, fires, smoke, dust. It's insane.
I know.
But we've got cars in almost in all those environments. And so every time somebody intervenes, takes over from autopilot, it saves that information and uploads it to our system. We don't know which car it was or what happened. There's no individual attribution for the car. We just know that intervention took place, and then we see what is required to fix that intervention. And we're really starting to get quite good at not even requiring human labeling. Basically, the person, say, drives the intersection. We know then and is thereby training autopilot what to do.
Right. Do you think one of the questions we debate a lot when we look at what is happening at Waymo and cruise automation is that it seems as though the artificial intelligence or deep learning or deep reinforcement learning that you're using, is probabilistic. They seem to be more deterministic in their approach because we're just looking at what's going wrong there.
Yes.
And that's what that suggests. Does that what?
Yeah, essentially, an heuristics approach to this will result in a local maximum of capability, so not a global maximum. I think you really have to apply a sophisticated neural net to achieve a global maximum. And this is why the reliance on LiDAR is unwise. It gets you to a certain point, but no further. And so basically a series of if-then-else statements in LiDAR is not going to solve it. Forget it. You're just game over. You have to solve vision, perception, essentially understanding, and with vision, and then it's solved. You don't need anything else. No other sensors at all. I mean, we drive cars with basically 2 cameras that aren't very good, and on a gimbal that doesn't move very fast. And a professional driver will almost never have an accident. Yeah.
I mean, Tesla has more real world miles than anyone else by far.
I think we must have
More than everyone else.
Maybe 100 times more than everyone else.
Yeah, you
combined.
said 5%. I think you said they have altogether 5% of.
It's probably closer to 1%.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I believe that Tesla is going to be very well equipped to take advantage of the autonomous vehicle opportunity. I could really rant on and on about how excited I am about that opportunity and how I feel like it's around the corner. And, people kind of give him grief because he says it's going to happen this year and then it doesn't happen. It's just around the corner, and it's really just he's ironing out the wrinkles. But I mean, the craziest thing is Tesla has all these vehicles that are capable, they're ready, they're on the road, and they have the hardware to essentially be autonomous. And once the software, finishes being, once it gets once the software is done, which it basically is, Elon will be able to flip the switch, software update, everyone will update their software, and then all of a sudden there will be millions of autonomous vehicles on the road, which just sounds pretty wild to me. I don't know if it's going to happen like that, but I mean, just that he has the sheer capability, where a lot of these other businesses, it seems more like they're trying to solve autonomy and then they're going to have to start from zero, selling these autonomous vehicles, where Tesla kind of has all the autonomous vehicles being sold and people are even purchasing the full self-driving software before it's even completed. I'm a perfect case study because I spent $10,000 on my full self-driving software because I'm really excited to be part of the journey and see the software updates as they happen and really be part of, the revolution of EVs and autonomous driving at such a pivotal point in time. So it's really exciting. So that's a $7 trillion opportunity. I'll actually cut to Chamath Palihapitiya because he talks about the third opportunity, which hasn't really started to materialize in a big way yet, but it's definitely around the corner, and I feel like it's going to be huge, which is the energy industry. So basically, Tesla has their solar roof, solar panel business, battery power wall, where essentially you can charge a giant battery in your house with solar, and then so that's a huge opportunity. I mean, literally the entire energy sector is on the table for Tesla.
And I'm telling you right now, Scott, the big disruption that's coming is to power utilities. There are trillions of dollars of bonds, of capex, of value sitting inside the energy generation infrastructure of the world that is going to go upside down. And when that goes pear-shaped, Tesla will double and triple again. And I think, I tweeted this a while ago that I thought the world's first trillionaire would be a person fighting climate change. It very well could be Elon, but if it's not him, it'll be somebody like him. But it'll be because of this. Delivering clean energy, allowing the world to be sustainable is an incredibly important thing that will be rewarded by markets and individuals.
And you're just going to ride, you said 2 or 3 times higher than where it is now. You're just going to ride that wave?
Scott, I don't understand why people are so focused on selling things that work. Let's just, I'll make up a number. Let's just say I owned $1 billion of Tesla stock. If I sold it, now I have $1 billion problem. What do I do with that money? What about if it was 100 million? What about if it was just 10,000? 10 billion? It doesn't matter what the number is. The point is that when things are working, you're paid to stay with people that know what they're doing. And this is a guy who has consistently been one of the most important entrepreneurs in the world. And so why bet against him? It's the same thing with Bezos. Why bet against him? And there are a handful of other people. Anthony Noto, who we just talked to today, is yet another person. You get behind these people who have incredibly strong character, who know what they're doing, who aren't going to bend to short-term profits, and who are just going to drive the train for 10 or 20 years and make the world a better place. Get behind them. The best way to summarize this, by the way, is a friend of ours who we mentioned earlier, Bill Gurley, has this great phrase: when the music's on, you got to dance. And so these guys are dancing. They are in rhythm. They're in flow. Let them do their thing. Get behind them. Don't sell a share. Just let them create value.
I mean, everyone knew that electric vehicles is going to be the future. It's kind of just, when is it going to happen? Where now it's like solar. We all know that that's the future. I mean, it's energy from the sun, as opposed to something that's going to run out and something we have to rely on other countries for. And so I think it's definitely going to happen. And I think the biggest opportunity out of all of these things, EVs, autonomous vehicles, and solar, is actually going to be the software around all of these technologies. And I mean, that's going to be the highest margin of income, I think, is going to be the software around power, selling your energy back to the grid. And basically it's going to be like a self-sustained power grid where everyone's charging their own batteries and then sharing energy with each other as they need it and selling it back and forth. And I mean, just the software around that, the software around autonomous driving, people are going to pay a lot of money to I mean, just think about how much value you create in the world when all of a sudden you don't need to pay attention while you're driving. You can do something else. Just think about, there's like a couple 100 million cars in the US and everyone's driving them all the time. And think about how much productivity gain there's going to be when people can, instead of focusing on driving, they can, I don't know, do research or watch a show or sleep or whatever, or just all the opportunities with autonomous driving and solar. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's kind of silly that everyone wants to buy stock because it's going up or sell stock because it's going down or vice versa. But I mean, like, stock price out of it, I mean, Tesla's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar company. Like, it's going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take. There might be some ups and downs. But I mean, I just think it's really never too late to invest in an amazing company, no matter how expensive it is. And so I really, I'm not a financial advisor, but I just hope that you guys consider Tesla and do your own homework and obviously make your own decisions when it comes to your money. But I'm sticking with Tesla for at least, I think forever. Until there's another company that I get more excited about. You can see from my sweatshirt, I own a Tesla Model 3 Performance with full self-driving, and but honestly, just the ride, just being along the ride for the technology and being part of the Tesla ecosystem is worth it for me. Anyway, so I'm a huge Tesla fan. I'm probably going to post a lot more videos about Tesla just because I have, ever since I invested in January, I've just learned more and more and gotten more and more enthusiastic about their business. Oh yeah, if I can rant a little bit more about more specific things, just talking about Elon Musk, he's just a powerhouse. Like,
if I asked you to sort of, attempt to drive a golf ball off the pier here into a teacup and gave you 1 million tries, I suspect that in 1 million times you would not be able to do it. But if you then took somebody else and they were able to do it 9 times out of 10, you'd say, wow, that person is a great golfer. The analogy that I would make is Elon basically did that equivalent. He was able to send a rocket into space, do all kinds of interesting, enormously productive, useful things for the world while in space, and then come back down and land on a boat in the middle of the ocean. The kind of technical sophistication that he has in his mind, that he's been able to apply across his companies, is second to none, quite honestly.
And just like he's shown again and again that he can execute big ideas, and I'm really excited to see what he does. I have this huge imagination of what this, autonomous driving, robotaxi, solar stuff is going to turn into, but I feel like he's probably got an even crazier vision than what I'm thinking, and I'm just excited to see how that pans out. And I'm really excited to be invested in Tesla when the autonomous driving software completes, the regulators say okay, and you can just let it do its thing. I can't wait to be a huge shareholder when that happens, and just the goosebumps that I'll get of yes, I'm glad I just stuck with it along for the ride, because in a weird way, even though it's only such a tiny part ownership, you just feel connected, with your investment. At least I do with Tesla. I know a lot of people really are looking at very micro, what's happening tomorrow? Is the market going to crash on Monday? And people think very kind of short term, which I try to look at least 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years out. Is this where I want to be invested in 5, 10 years? But I think, in the near term this year, there's 2 factories opening up, which is, a catalyst for stock price growth, I guess. But really, it's just, that he's going to keep opening factories and keep making more and more cars and collecting more data, and his autonomous software is going to get better and better. But there's the Berlin Gigafactory opening and the Austin one opening. I think they're both opening this year. they're going to start rolling out Tesla Cybertrucks, which are going to take over the truck market in the US at least, which is a huge market. I think it's, there's already 600 or 700,000 reserved online, which, the factory's only going to be able to put out like 500,000 a year at its peak or something. So obviously there's huge demand for it. If Biden comes out with renewed EV tax credits, that'll be another catalyst for stock growth. But honestly, I don't think Tesla needs it, and I think, regardless, they're gonna kick ass 2021, 2022, and beyond. But don't take my word for it. I really want to listen to Cathie Wood and Chamath Palihapitiya, as well as Elon himself. So let's listen to what they have to say.
It doesn't change that the minute you sit inside that car, your definition of what is expected is altered forever. And you wonder why every other car around you that you ever step in, that you may buy, doesn't have the same things that that car offers. So at the end of the day, whether you like his style or not, his substance is irrefutable.
Sure, but I walk down the street here in San Francisco the other day. I see a billboard for the new Audi electric car that's coming. I mean, competition is coming. If it's not already here, that gives you no pause.
You're right, because I remember all the Zune media players I bought after Apple released the iPod. I also remember the enormous number of amazing smartphones I bought when the iPhone was like, it's not what people do. It tends to be the case that when you redefine expectations and you have a category leader and you have an indelible brand and a mark that people recognize, the easiest decision, let me be a little pejorative, the lazy decision is to pick the winner and go with it. And in this case, there is a clear winner in electrification. It is done. That die has been cast. And so now the question is, can he build the infrastructure to deliver the demand?